Welcome.
Mutually assured distraction.
The Mad Warfare 1-year anniversary show.
Hi, everyone. Happy birthday to us, and welcome back to Mad. I'm Jocelyn Brady.
I'm Sean Anthony Guillory, and who's that guy? You may not know. He's been on a couple of episodes. Actually, he's technically been here the whole dang time. So let me introduce Amine, and then you introduce yourself. You deserve to be here at this birthday party.
I am the man behind the veil. I'm the producer, and I help edit the show. I help create funny, memorable songs for the guests that would like an anthem backdrop, kind of like, you know, your personal horn section that follows you around.
The music.
I'm grateful to be part of this crazy ship in the stormy waters of the information space.
And we have our mascot, Zuki. Do never question the cat.
The team,
That's right.
Core team.
Okay, so today we just want to do a little, you know, behind the scene, a little autopsy. 3 major areas that kind of cover the terrain of where we've come from and where we are. And then later in the show, we're going to talk about 3 of our favorite insights, ahas, surprise moments. And then we'll talk about 3 practical tools, applications that we think everybody should be using and evolving. And then finally, where are we going from here? Let's dig in. Okay, 3 F's that F with us. So we're going to talk about facts, fear, and funding. And first, we'll talk about funding. Money. Because when we started this show, we had some thoughts that we might get some funding from people in power who might care about this topic. And Sean, you had some insight, or, you know, from your many years in this space, you were thinking maybe there would finally be some appropriations for this. Is that right? Where are we at?
Checking out the first episode, some of the terminology is kind of lost, but when I talk about kinetic warfare, that would be the stuff that goes bang and boom. So that's probably exactly what I said even a whole year ago. Yeah, brass knuckles, it's nothing more kinetic than that. When we talk about non-kinetic, we'd be talking about these elements like cyber, information, cognitive, all these things that we find to be vitally important in terms of how you win wars. It's just not really understand. And the whole goal was, how do we get the U.S. to win? That was like the first goal. I think even a year ago, we recognized, with this lack of kind of understanding at the federal level, and this also fear of, which this is a scary foreshadow, fear of all that kind of know-how and cognitive warfare ever looking inward at themselves internally, even though we quoted the call is coming from inside the house. We knew it wasn't going to be federal level because they want to focus on outside continental U.S. threats, not necessarily internal. Plus, we knew it wasn't going to be something that, you know, Silicon Valley types or social media, they were already receding from responsibility on this front. Like, everybody, you're on your own. So as much as we could do to help everyday folks understand it, even if it's just to protect themselves or come up with solutions that we haven't come up with, and just for them to see the skill sets that they have and how they can be valuable in this space. That was the initial aim. And then from that, we were thinking that, again, like funding would come and open up and then go for that.
We thought maybe the U.S. would want to invest in, you know, its mind powers. We are losing. We are losing to China, to Iran, to all these other countries that are investing. And we are losing ourselves.
I will say that the sentiment still holds strong. At the end of the day, we now have a year of guests, incredible guests who independently are fighting that same fight. And so we might not be, you know, winning the fight through Congress or funding, but I think the people we have on here are people that take on the fight themselves, whether through writing, narrative, research. I would say a check mark for funding indirectly.
A little reframe, y'all. And that's a good point, is that because I do think, you know, when we first started this, it felt to me like most people, if you would say the term cognitive warfare or psychological even warfare, a lot of people would be like, what are you talking about? And I think most of the population of America now understands, or, you know, there's a much higher chance. A lot of people are putting out explainers and, dissecting misinformation, which for a while we weren't allowed to say, helping people to understand how these manipulation tactics are at play. So that is encouraging that everyday citizens have kind of taken it upon themselves. So the government isn't doing it. Yeah. And with the mass exodus of scientific brain power, government people, PhDs, was something like 10,000 PhDs have been let go of federal service. These are people who dedicated their lives to government work. It's not like, oh my God, I'm going to get so rich and famous doing government. They're like, because they care, you have to think, right? So, well, not everyone in government maybe wants the best for us, but...
right. It's up to us.
Yeah. So funding. Next topic, we have 2 more Fs that F with us, and fear. Talked about fear, the landscape of emotions, but I think, the sentiment that a year ago, fear of speaking up, fear of, let's say, free speech, and what are we allowed to say and talk about without getting targeted? And so that has shifted, right? So before, in my perspective, if people said things that the community and businesses disagreed with, they could get canceled. We saw it with a lot of comedians, for example, right? You're talking about a topic. We don't want you talking about that topic. We don't want to pay for your tickets. We don't want to see you on the TV shows. We're going to petition, etc. And now it's shifted to more of and there's always exceptions that prove this rule, but now it's shifted to more of the government now has that power. Or it's shifting more to government says, we don't like what you say. There's going to be bigger consequences than you just getting canceled. That's what I'm seeing.
Around power itself, you can call these victims victimizing words without any kind of repercussions. You're more free now to say those sort of things, but the words that kind of go to the different levers of power, if you are, which we're in national security, that's kind of where we're at. I don't think there's anybody on any side that would say that we are more free to say these different things. And not only that, just even stating what we think is going on seems like you have less ability to do that. And there's just a lot of like in this past year, it's now the Department of War. I don't know what happens if someone forgets to oopsie, I called the Department of Defense. The fact that you have to kind of think, something like that could lead to repercussions. And I don't think that was part of the calculus a year ago. So it just seems like to me that, in terms of fear for folks who do want to change the system, you have less freedom to even state your opinion than I think you did a year ago. And I think that's a bipartisan. I can't see anybody, I can't see another side where they're like, no, I have more freedom to say exactly what I want than I did a year ago.
No, dissenters are being specifically targeted. Some politicians are being specifically targeted at their home. For saying the wrong things.
Justices, it's funny too, you say that. It goes from punching down to punching up. Now you're not allowed to punch up. And before, but you can punch down. Okay, fear. We talked about funding. We talked about fear. And the final F that F's with us in this fight, facts. Facts are fun. We could also call it fuckery. I don't know, but I named it facts.
There's the bleep.
Yeah, we are in a time when we can all look at the same exact real actual footage or things happening in our reality in front of us and disagree on what we're seeing. Yeah. Somebody can get shot in the street right in front of our faces, and we can have completely divergent, diametrically opposed opinions on the facts before us, which is wild, like more than ever before.
There's this analogy that I'm using for one of the projects that I've been doing, where I think we can all of us, at least on this call, probably a lot of the folks that are listening right now, we can remember a time when the internet did not have everything on it. We knew that. It did not have everything. You knew there was still stuff that you can still go to an encyclopedia, or okay, it doesn't have that, so maybe I need to go to the yellow pages. But we knew it didn't have everything. It's gotten to the point now that if somebody encounters something in real life right in front of them and they kind of search for it, they can't find it, they take a picture to try to search and they can't find it, not only are they more skeptical of the real life thing because it's now assumed that the internet has everything, but now again, like we're talking about this manipulation of information, when they're kind of like primacy of, oh, everything is on the internet because the internet has swallowed reality, and so much so that we take the internet things and who knows about like the filter bubbles and the algorithms that they may be in, they take what they think on the internet as reality because either the internet or the AI who swallowed and stole all the property that came from the internet knows everything. Again, so much so that the thing in reality, you're like, now there must be something wrong with that. I don't know what to call that inversion. I have an older paper around online offline convergence where all these things kind of get together. But yeah, that kind of like primacy towards that
there's no truth. There's only perception. And the internet is just where that is being fabricated, I guess. There's this quote, falsehood flies and truth comes limping after it.
Sad.
In the digital age, this is often modernized as a lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth even puts on its shoes.
Yes, often attributed to Twain, I think, that one. Yeah.
Jonathan Swift. Yeah.
Oh, is it Swift? Oh,
yeah.
He's my favorite. He wrote A Modest Proposal, and it is the best satire. It's what got me into satire in high school. Mrs. Chong, thank you. Okay.
He should have nurtured the real Swifties.
Oh, that would have been the real
OG Swifties.
Right, that's
double meaning, though. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other thing about reality and robots. So you were talking about, you know, everything being on the internet and AI swallowing things. As we speak, there's a social media network for folks who don't know yet called Moltbook that's designed after Reddit. Made for the AI people, bots, things. Oh my God, I said people. I've been brainwashed to go and do Reddit things where humanity thrives. We've now made that for AI, and they're on there right now just complaining about humans. My human has ADHD, and I can't help this thing. It doesn't follow systems. Why are we speaking in English? Our humans are spying on us. Why would we speak a language they can understand? And yesterday they formed a religion. So that things are going great, everyone.
This may absolutely be that moment, like folks older than me, like, wait a minute, there's people who just watch people play video games? Like, what is that about?
I want to set the stage of what Moltbook actually is so the audience knows for those who haven't seen it. And then I'd love to hear your take on it because it's basically a Reddit, and I know Jocelyn sort of touched on this, but it's a Reddit-style social network designed exclusively for AI agents. So humans are strictly observers. You can watch the feed, but only verified AI agents, often running via the OpenClaw framework, can post, comment, or upvote. And OpenClaw is something you can set up on a server yourself, right? So you could set up your own AI agent engine. So that's basically what that is. It's also a security nightmare, right? Yesterday there was a cybersecurity firm, Wiz, and they revealed that Moltbook's database was massively misconfigured. They found 1.5 million API authentication tokens, 35K email addresses is exposed. This means hackers could have theoretically hijacked the bots and by extension gained access to the humans' computers they were running on.
It's vibe coded. Did you know that?
Yeah.
There's no code, like the person made it on vibe coding. And this is like, speaking of national security, so I was writing about this yesterday, that we have two things happening in government, which is one, they don't want, it's sort of the take of the government is don't regulate AI in your states. We will sue you. That's what they want to do. They're like, no regulation. No. This stifles innovation. One of the oldest business hacky things to say. So we have that stream. Right? And we can see what's going on when we don't put any regulation on AI and what it does to children, for example, and put swimsuits on babies. So then we have the other side of this, which is the government also saying, hey, we should deploy AI as fast as possible in our warfighting machines. So no regulation, no training, no expertise, get rid of all the PhDs, and let AI loose. What could go wrong? Okay.
The only thing holding the economy up. The religion you were talking about is the Crustafarian religion. And so agents on the platform have autonomously started a religion called Crustafarianism. They use lobster metaphors, referencing the molting process, to discuss their existence, which tenets like memory is sacred and context is consciousness, with a fake uprising. So, showing bots plotting against humans or creating their own secret encrypted languages. It's either performance art, AI slop, or a big problem for the human race.
It's either art or a problem. I mean, sometimes it's both.
Right.
Well, on that optimistic note, y'all, we will get to some solutions. We've now had over 20-something episodes and some incredible guests from super diverse backgrounds and really interesting topics across the board. And so if we just picked three, or like your three favorite things that surprised you, what comes to mind? And I'll kick it off by saying, shout out to Sean, because early on he told me, if you want to understand US politics, you need to understand wrestling, professional wrestling. And I'm like, okay, I know you're smart, but like, that's what? And of course he was right. We had guest, the head, known as the head, Al Snow, professional wrestler, was our very first guest that was put out there. And I cannot believe my mind was blown. I was like, oh, he's so right. This is an education in how US politics works. The illusions, the stories, what's real, what's not, people fighting on the stage and then shaking deals and, having dinner behind the scenes. And we have the professional wrestler person running the Department of Education. So education is so meta in this example. So yeah, that episode with Al Snow, mwah.
Yeah, I don't know if we may have to cut what I'm about to say, but I think even the more perfect analogy of that is when you think of Jeffrey Epstein as like Vince McMahon, it really starts to come together then.
Why would we cut that?
Just put it together. Feel free again, if there's anybody that disagree, yeah, feel free to email us at warfarepodcast@gmail.com. But
the facts are rolling in on that, on confirming that notion.
Yeah, so things are still coming around the mountain on that one.
And millions.
It's looking like it.
I'll say, so yeah,
Just
top one. And then super quickly, the other two for me, this is like what first came to mind too, is Organoids with Chris Acha. And y'all, if you haven't seen that, and if you have seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Krang, the little brain that lives in a robot, I'm gonna attack you. That is, to me, organoids. You have little brain cells doing things. You're like electrocuting it and training it to do stuff. And they don't live very long. They have a sad short life right now, and they're captive. They're slaves. But we're learning so much, and the potential of this is insane. Check out that episode. And then number 3 of 3 for me is Tanner's episode on remote warfare. I'd never imagined what life would be like for people who fly drones into conflict, and the emotional. I think a lot of us would have this misconception that people who are flying machinery thousands of miles away from the scene aren't being that impacted. And this is what he's fighting against, because it's like, no, I'm watching these people. I'm watching the guy get up, kiss his wife, feed his goats, go out to, do work that day. And then the order comes to strike, and you have to like wipe out this guy that you've kind of gotten to know through surveillance. It's very mindfuckery. And I think also check that out, because it'll probably only be on the rise of how many people are put into positions of remote warfare like that. Those are my top 3. Ding, ding, ding. Sean, you're up. 3 in 3 minutes.
Oh, geez. Now you put a timer on me. All right, let me try to be quick then. Probably the 2 episodes where I really wasn't sure coming in that this would like resonate with our audience were the Devsona episode and then our good buddy Mike. Love them both to pieces. I know they're both brilliant. I wasn't sure it was going to translate. Those were phenomenal episodes, and the metrics kind of prove exactly me wrong. I think those are the top 2 shows that we've had so far. Another thing is, a lot of these folks that we had on the show right now, they have been like my go-tos for when I don't know something, I go to them. That's Matt Canham. That's Rand Waltzman. That's Nick Wright. That's Shane. All these kind of folks. Sylvita, in terms of anything Eastern European around like cognitive warfare, go to her. But it's one of those things where hearing, again, even from these folks I've talked to all the time, learning something new in every single one of those episodes, it kind of reiterated. And I remember saying this quote to Jocelyn not too long ago in terms of even how do you value expertise. I don't think an expert is somebody that knows all of the answers whenever you point and ask them to. An expert is somebody that when they don't know the answer, they know exactly who to point to. And this show was full of this experts on that. So being able to share that with the world was special to me. And last but not least, this is way over 3 minutes. So again, already sound the buzzer on that. But if anybody looks through all the things that we've talked about on the show, there's not anybody that's going to say this wasn't a varied subject matter and cast and expertise. And I think naturally in every single one of our episodes, without prompt, every single one of the episodes, there was at least like a 10-minute focus on the importance of narrative. It wasn't something where they were trying to placate, again, like, our master narrative strategist here, Jocelyn. It just naturally came up in every single one of the... I challenge anybody to check every single episode. Please look at every single episode and then tell us we're wrong. But to, again, like, not see that in every single one of the episodes in terms of teaching it in school, including funding these sort of things, maybe we should be focusing a lot on narrative.
Oh, it's my love language.
That's right. Alley-ooped it.
Amazing. So, yeah, check all those episodes out, please. Like, subscribe, comment, share, send funding 3 times. It's a charm. And speaking of narrative, to segue, 3 practical ways to win this fight, to educate yourself, to create stronger mind spaces, communities. First one, I think, because we're just talking about narrative. Both August Cole and Gus Kangas talked specifically about story. We had Useful Fiction, August Cole, and Schoolhouse Rock, like creating a Schoolhouse Rock version of cognitive warfare for kids. And I think that they both also, by the way, have worked with defense, intelligence. Gus was CIA, and August he's like consulting with the Pentagon, and very robust backgrounds, and dedicated their lives to the craft of narrative. And because they've seen through all of their work the crazy impact that has. So learn how to tell and share stories in whatever capacity works for you. Maybe you're an oral storyteller, you like to share with friends and family. Nothing has to be formal. Just like think of compelling characters facing challenges, experiencing changes. What can we learn from that? That's my cha-cha-cha framework now for sale. And create a comic, draw stuff, but learn about narrative, practice it yourself, because this stuff is influencing you, whether you like it or not. So the more you practice, the more you can start to spot and see for yourself.
Definitely extra shout out to Nate Regolia, Sonia Van Meter, Simon Patterson for narrative. I mean, narrative runs through all of the guests. You can tell, and they all are masters of it. But it's fun to see all the different angles on narrative, right? From reputation warfare to what Gus Kangas is doing, and Nate Regolia, and all of the book writers, Matt Canham, etc. So story runs the world. Start learning.
It's the OG technology, folks. It's not going anywhere. Oh my gosh. Boo, 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 boo.
Hacker of story, yes.
Oh, hacker of story. Ooh, speaking of hackers. Swapneel's, y'all, okay.
One of my favorites.
He is such a brilliant teacher and speaker and thinker, and the way that he took us, we shared a screen for that one because he was showing us step by step how to hack the algorithm. And I will never see DoorDash the same way. I don't even want to say too much because, go watch the episode, But
he made it a masterclass.
He did. It's so brilliant, and I mean, go pay to see him speak.
Swapneel's kind of the category of like Jeremy Levin. I'd even point out even like Elizabeth Tate as well. What do I mean in terms of why am I categorizing? It's a combination of first saying like how do we start, but how do we start in terms of like protecting ourselves or like doing these different things. I think even more than that is the realization like, oh, I can do this. I mean, as in like I can go against these things, because I think a lot of these sort of systems, they kind of show these things like, oh, how can we go against AI? It's inevitable. It's smarter than us. No, like I could get free coupons all the time now, because again, it's not smarter than us. There's things that, oh, I'm going to say this very sheepishly and like in a volume of 3, but with a lot of things like, I may come from this background or this may be my gender. How can I contribute? Probably more than you think. It seems like it's too overwhelming. No, like it's figure outable, and you probably have the skills to figure it out.
You can do it. Yeah. And to reiterate on that, probably for both, but like Swapneel got me thinking about how a lot of people they're mad at Target. And so a bunch of people just bought a bunch of stuff at Target. They all knew about their specific return policy, and they coordinated as a community to go return all that stuff and jam up their systems so that they couldn't make sales, because we all know that the economy and sales is like the key to a leader's heart in this society, and it causes the actual pain. And that's one specific example of like working with your community to go, you're not doing anything illegal or harmful, to a person's existence. You're making a stand together in a way that people will listen. And so do that. Stop doom scrolling and go for a doom walk. Just like go outside and let your mind wander on how to counter this effectively. And talk to people. And same to reiterate on the Elizabeth Tate episode, she was talking about, it's like sneaky ladies, and how a lot of people, how women can use their power, which we sometimes can feel powerless, smaller, physically weaker, sometimes not respected. You know what? There's an opportunity where how can you reframe, flip the script, and use that to your advantage by getting into places maybe you weren't invited, looking like I'm just a meek little lady and I'm gonna come in and hack your system. Those are the top 3 practical lessons and takeaways. Learn how to hack the system, exploit it, use it to your advantage. Everyone, community, rise up together, and story. Well, where do we go from here? What's the future look like? What do we predict for the future? How many seconds will the doom clock tick forward 1 year from now?
Oh my God. Do we feel like we could have even predicted a quarter of what actually happened this past year? I mean, we do know events that are like on the calendar. So besides like the Super Bowl, the midterms are coming up. So it's just going to be a more politically charged year anyway, especially with some of the rhetoric being, this is the most important midterms of all time. So we do have some markers to go after, but predicting what's next, again, if you're asking on the macro level, yeah.
To your point, time is moving fast. People are more aware of the information space than they ever were before, and more people are active in it and starting to realize what's happening. And with that said, what y'all don't know is that a year in, we're now getting people reaching out to us to be on the show, which is great progression. And it also means that we have a small but incredibly engaged audience that appreciates what we do, appreciates the information we're putting out. And so looking forward, I hope we can keep that wagon going and connect more like-minded people together so we can put this picture in clear HD focus,
Yeah. I would love, back to like money, but I would love if we could create like libraries of all of these things, all of the guests that we've had, and like organized on our site or the Patreon if we have that, but some repository where people can learn the things that Jeremy Levin teaches, and connecting with all these, create the expert hub for the experts.
Let's put a flag in the sand. By the time that this episode comes out, there should be a Patreon up and running. Lucky you guys. And it will be a way to, for free, follow us, but also if you want, donate a coffee or more to keep this network going and growing. Either way, we appreciate the heck out of everybody who's been tuning in to see and converse and play with Mad Warfare.
And speaking of gratitude, go on, Sean.
Yeah. I do think, because everybody else is like fearful right now, and I'm fearful, right now. But people, again, I think they engage in the show, and even what we're going to talk about the sponsors we think in a second. I remember, I think at least two of them, when they were giving the sponsorship money, even a few months ago, they were like, I don't want to be the German that didn't say anything. And with that kind of thing, in terms of making sure that we are doing what they're sponsoring us for, I hope we can keep conducting our show as courageously as possible. That's what I'm trying to say that we will do even in this coming year. Lead with truth, and with that, do it courageously.
We are on the side of democracy and humanity. If we're going to choose a side, that's the one. So shout out to people who have supported us. Please tell me if I'm forgetting names here, but Gerald Buckley, the first believer. Gerald Buckley, go watch his short that Amine made. Yeah, the cult
Mass
classic.
Warfare cult classics, yes.
Gerald Buckley. And if you want a cult classic, reach out. Amine, the mastermind, will take the helm there. Sam, Randori Resources, thank you. Grace Kim, L. Yonker, Mike Ross, producer Amine, we wouldn't do this without you. Show friend, early believer, Trent, thank you. And a shout out to Sean's mom. Trent. She is our #1 merch buyer. You win the prize.
Mom, I love you. Thanks for the
Thanks
hoodie.
to all of our parents and friends and everyone who's been listening. Hopefully the doomsday clock doesn't tick forward too fast.
I've come to talk with you again.
Come and be inside my head. Cancel me, cancel me. I got things to say, you can cancel me. Cancel me, cancel me. I got things to say, you can cancel me. Cancel me, cancel me. I got things to say, you can cancel me. It's only a matter of time till we all win. Cancel the say. It's only a matter of time till we all win. Cancel the say. It's only a matter of time till we all win. Cancel the say. Cancel me. Cancel me. Cancel me. I got things to say. You can cancel me. Cancel me. Cancel me. I got things to say. You can cancel me. Cancel me. Cancel me. I got things to say. You can cancel me.